Hi there, I'm Matt Donnelly from RotoBaller, and it's time to talk about those Week 3 starts and sits at the tight end position. If you aren't rostering Travis Kelce, are you even really rostering a tight end? Kyle Granson, Logan Thomas, and the ghost of Zach Ertz were all top 12 options at the position. At least Kelce and Mark Andrews finally returned after their 1 week absence. With that being said, here are some tight ends that you can trust in week number 3. One tight end that you're starting this week is Pat Freiermuth of the Pittsburgh Steelers as they take on the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, anyone who knows anything about fantasy football knows you start your tight ends whenever they play Las Vegas. And that doesn't change here this week. That doesn't change this season. Vegas has allowed the 4th most fantasy production to tight ends thus far this season. And Freiermuth, he's going to be looking to help get the Steelers' passing attack back on track. Another tight end you're starting this week is Kyle Pitts against the Detroit Lions. Yes, I am recommending Kyle Pitts. Pitts as a starter this week. Yes, this week. And no, I am not unwell in a way that needs some special attention. Now, Detroit, they have surrendered the most receiving yards to opposing tight ends thus far this season. And Pitts, he did have a pair of catches there for 44 yards against the Panthers last week. So maybe things are starting to turn around there for the Atlanta Falcons tight end. I'm also starting Adam Troutman there versus Miami. Greg Dulcich, he is on the IR, and the Broncos are facing a Dolphins team that is allowing just over 20 fantasy points per game so far this season. Troutman, he's going to be the only tight end there in Denver, so expect him to see a good portion of that fantasy production. I'm also starting, let's go deep here. How about Cade Otton versus the Philadelphia Eagles? Yes, I have no problem going deep. I have no problem getting bold. Anything, and I mean anything, can and will happen at the tight end position any given week. So how about Cade Otton against this Eagles team through 2 weeks that has allowed tight ends to hit pay dirt on 3 different occasions and are allowing a league high 26.05 fantasy points per game. They don't ask how, they simply ask how many. Let's talk sits here. Let's talk about Green Bay Packers tight end Luke Musgrave. Now, everybody loves Luke Musgrave. His utilization so far has been outstanding, and that's one of the things you're looking for in a tight end. However, one thing I'm also looking for in my tight end sits is a team that is going up against the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans has been one of the best tight end defending teams in each of the last couple seasons, and that hasn't changed so far here in 2023. So for me, I'm taking the Saints defense over Musgrave and the Packers. Number 2 sit of the week, it's Darren Waller versus San Francisco. Barkley, he suffered that ankle injury, meaning this 49ers entire defensive scheme is going to be focused around Darren Waller heading into Thursday Night Football. And we also got to talk about Darren Waller is not 100% himself. He's been on the injury report in each of the last 2 weeks, which is not great news, especially for Waller when he's facing this 49ers team that has allowed just 7.7 fantasy points on a per game basis to the position so far this season. They also have only allowed 34 receiving yards in those 2 games to tight ends. Another sit this week is Gerald Everett versus the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota, they struggle when it comes to defending the pass, but that is against wide receivers. They've actually been quite stout when it comes to defending opposing tight ends, especially this season where they have yet to yield a touchdown to the position, and they've only surrendered 41 yards on 8 receptions. Once again, we are talking about tight end starts and sits here in week number 3, and you are starting Pat Freiermuth against the Las Vegas Raiders. Anytime a tight end goes up against the Vegas Raiders, that's a tight end that you're starting. Now, I'm also ready to have my heart broken all over again, but the matchup with Kyle Pitts is too good to pass up, so I'm starting him as well. And I'm also starting Adam Troutman. That's right, we are digging deep. Miami is giving up over 20 fantasy points per game to the position. You want to go deeper? How about Cade Otton versus the Philadelphia Eagles? He had a big performance last week, 10 plus points, and he faces an Eagles team that has allowed 3 touchdowns to tight ends so far. On the flip side of that coin, sit Luke Musgrave. It hurts to do it, but New Orleans ain't no joke. Darren Waller is also a sit this week. No Barkley means the defense is going to be 100% fixated on him, and him hasn't looked very good so far. Finally, I'm also sitting Gerald Everett, matchup-based tight end with a very bad matchup. That's not great. Be sure to like and subscribe to our RotoBaller YouTube channel for plenty more great fantasy football analysis.